We'll call to order tonight's Committee of the Whole for the June 3rd Auburn City Council meeting. The council members should have the minutes from the May 20th Committee of the Whole. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a move to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are approved. Indian Pines Public Park Authority, Mayor Pro Tem Witten.
Yes, sir. We have one vacancy. Term begins June 21, 2025 and ends June 20, 2029. Incumbent Bradley Martin has served one full term and did not seek a second. I would like to nominate William Hughes for that position.
Second.
I have a motion, a second for William Hughes. Any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I've known William for probably going on 15 years now. He's introduced to him professionally. He's a CPA, so but I've gotten to know him personally. I think he'd be a great asset on the board. I think his accounting background would bring a lot of value to the board, and he'd be very dedicated to serving. So I plan to support William tonight. I also want to say I know the other applicant, Mr. Aldridge, Randy Aldridge, great gentleman as well. We had two outstanding applicants for this position, but I think the CPA background with William was kind of what set him apart, and I think he'd be a valuable member to the board. So,
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I appreciate your support, Max. You know, normally in these situations, if I was going to carry a dissenting vote, I would wait till later to do that, but I just want to, I appreciate Mr. Hughes, but I'll be supporting Mr. Aldridge. He's a local businessman, has a business that's reflective of the game of golf, and I believe he'd be an outstanding member of this board as well. But I will not be supporting Mr. Hughes, but I appreciate his willingness to want to serve. Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of Mr. William Hughes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, we'll confirm Mr. Hughes later on in the agenda.
Mayor, do you want the record to reflect, though, that you didn't vote against somebody, you just voted for somebody else? That's
That
been
would
the
be fine,
tradition of the
yes.
city council, that Councilman Dawson has requested that the minutes reflect appropriately, that nobody's voting against anybody, but you had a different candidate in mind.
Sure, okay, that'll be fine. Thank you.
That was
Thank
just one, right?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Okay, questions on tonight's agenda for the city manager? Any questions from the dais for the city manager? Anything for us?
Before we get to the regular agenda, just want to quick remind you, I'm going to announce an unexpired term on the Planning Commission because we had a resignation of an existing member. And your council rules talk about X amount of days for the application to be out there and kind of X amount of days before you appoint somebody to align with the second meeting in July. You're kind of in that window, but the application process is shortened. You don't have a total number of mandatory days, but it's probably about, it's the 23rd, Lindsay. We will close applications. We'll open them about midnight tonight. The portal will be, and we'll close them on the 23rd so I can get them to you to back up to the amount of days you require for interviews.
Okay,
And so probably just a few days shorter, but I wanted to draw your attention to that. We're trying to fit this in to give a new planning commissioner time from the July 22nd meeting until we get to the planning commission meeting, the second Thursday in August, a little more time for ramp up. So that's why we're trying to hit that date, is to give some orientation time in there and time for you to get interviews done in July.
okay.
Okay.
And so we can be working with the council starting tomorrow, finding a date after the 23rd to set up for interviews, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and we'll do that. Any questions for the city manager regarding that? We certainly appreciate Ms. Birmingham's service to the planning commission and thank her for everything that she's done. Okay, all right. Is there a move to adjourn the committee of the whole?
So move.
All right, we're adjourned and we'll get started in just about a minute. We'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for June the 3rd, 2025. We welcome those that have joined us here in the council chambers. We also welcome those that are listening on WANI or that might be watching through our streaming services. With the roll call, Lindsay?
Adams.
Here.
Coblentz.
Here.
Dawson.
Here.
Griswold.
Here.
Mormon.
Here.
Parsons.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Witten.
Here.
Anders.
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, then remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It is the first meeting of the month, and so at this time, we're excited to introduce you to our Employee of the Month as well as other outstanding employees with their service awards.
We're proud to introduce you to the June City of Auburn Employee of the Month, and I have a memorandum here from Alfred Davis. It is with great enthusiasm that I nominate Treva Hadley for Employee of the Month. Treva has been an essential part of the community services team, and her unwavering dedication to serving our citizens has made a lasting, positive impact on our community. Her work ethic, compassion, and commitment to excellence set her apart as a truly outstanding employee. Treva's approach to her job is nothing short of exceptional. She consistently goes above and beyond, ensuring that every individual she assists feels heard, valued, and supported. Whether she is coordinating community outreach programs, assisting individuals in need, or working behind the scenes to improve services, Treva tackles every task with professionalism and a positive attitude. Her ability to remain patient and resourceful, even in challenging situations, speaks volumes about her character and dedication. Beyond her technical skills and job performance, Treva brings inspiring energy to the workplace. She fosters a sense of teamwork and collaboration, always willing to lend a helping hand to her colleagues. Her passion for making a difference is contagious, motivating those around her to strive for excellence as well. She embodies the values of our organization, and her contributions have strengthened our team in countless ways. For all these reasons and more, I strongly believe that Treva is more than deserving of this recognition. She exemplifies what it means to be a dedicated and compassionate public service, and I can't think of a more fitting recipient for Employee of the Month. Congratulations. We appreciate you.
Thank you to all of our employees for your great work. Treva, thank you for joining us tonight. Congratulations to you for being our Employee of the Month. We appreciate all of our employees with their service awards, and certainly to Candy, we wish her all the best in her retirement. Tonight, during the Committee of the Whole, the City Council appointed William Hughes to the Indian Pines Public Park Authority. And then the city manager also discussed an upcoming planning commission appointment and a shortened timeline for applications to be available, which is through the 23rd of this month. Under announcements tonight, I just want to say thank you to all of our staff, in particular our economic development staff, for a great Memorial Day breakfast a week ago, yesterday. It was very special, unique, and well-planned, and had some great gentlemen that were honored. The ceremony at the Veterans Memorial was memorable as well, and I just appreciate the hard work that went into that. Tomorrow, we're very excited that the new Coca-Cola sales and distribution facility will have its ribbon cutting at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're proud to be the home of Coca-Cola. It's a great name and great brand to have a part of our community. We look forward to the great jobs that they're bringing to Auburn and the great service that they'll be bringing to Auburn. We'll remind everyone that this weekend is a busy weekend, starting Friday night with Summer Nights. That'll begin downtown at 6 o'clock. Certainly want to remind our community that downtown will be closing early. So if you got to get somewhere downtown, make sure you do that earlier in the day, Friday. But it's one of our special nights that we have during the summer with all of our community can come together and hang out in downtown. And then if you have baseball tickets, you can go over to Plainsman Park. We're certainly excited about Coach Thompson and the team and hosting the Super Regional this weekend with the games on Friday night and Saturday afternoon for sure. And then finally, I want to just say thank you to the Auburn University Board of Trustees. They have invited myself to come over and address their meeting on Thursday, their work session Thursday afternoon, and it's quite an honor to be a part of their meeting. I'm thankful that the Board of Trustees of Auburn University are interested in what goes on in the city that houses their university and their students, and we look forward to spending some time with them and telling them the good things that have been going on in Auburn over the last year. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? This one? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to let everybody know that between now and our next council meeting, there'll be a significant celebration. The United States Army will have 250 years of service to the nation on the 14th. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that supports the military, whether it be the Army or the other services, as well as those that support our emergency responders. So please keep them all in your hopes and your prayers, and support them when you get a chance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colonel Griswold. We appreciate your service as well. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Connie?
Okay, I just want to remind everybody that next weekend is also going to be a pretty big, busy weekend. We have our holiday coming up Thursday, July the 19th for Juneteenth. And we'll have the Auburn Juneteenth celebration here, but we're going to have the parade before the 19th, which is next Saturday on the 14th. And we'll be marching from Boykin to Drake School, and the lineup begins at 8:30. The parade will start exactly at 10 o'clock a.m., so I'm asking the public to please come out and celebrate and support the parade this year. And then the event will be Sunday, the following Sunday, June 22nd, and it will be at Keezer Park, and it starts from 2 to 6 o'clock p.m. So once again, the public is invited, everybody's invited. So come out and support Juneteenth.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
I want to remind the public that we're 2 or 3 days into the Auburn Public Library's Summer Reading Challenge. You can sign up at the city's website or through their Facebook page. They'll link you. You need to read 1,000 minutes before the end of July, I believe, and that will earn you a pretty cool piece of merch from the Auburn Public Library, a nice T-shirt, and when you break it down, it's only like 30 minutes a day. It's easily done, and I encourage you to get out there and read. Also, I wanted to shout out to Chief Kane. He took a team over to Opelika to compete against the Opelika Fire Department Big Bite Challenge on Saturday. Oh, so close, Chief, so close, so close. Those Opelika guys. What is it? I don't know. Thanks a lot.
I think it's the home field advantage, Councilman Parsons.
The citizens of
Anyone?
Auburn are not aware of such a challenge because it exists in Opelika.
Well, just to clarify then, the Opelika, it's the burger, we have burger wars over in Opelika, and the Big Bite Challenge is now, I think it's 7 or 8 years. You've grabbed the trophy a couple of times, and very impressive. But so if you ever want to come out and watch firefighters tuck into some food, come on over to Opelika.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like
Please.
to, last Saturday morning, approximately 1 a.m. in the morning, I had to use 911 to call assistance for my dad who took a nasty fall and had a pretty good cut on his head. I was very surprised at the way as fast as the Auburn Fire Department responded. They were there almost immediately, coming from Station 5. They were so nice, very attentive to my dad. And then ETS showed up a little later, and they were very helpful as well. But I just like to say I thank the firemen for what they did, and I couldn't ask for anything any better. They actually had to help me get back down the steps before they left. So I really appreciated that. And Megan, I want to thank you personally, because I know you put a lot into that, getting us a little better response around here for our paramedics and things. And it really, when it hits home, is when you really realize how what you do. I want to thank the council for the things you've allowed us to purchase for our fire department. When it hits home, you realize how important it is. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing your dad on the floor and you have trouble getting him up. Before you know it, there's about 4 or 5 big, strong, young firemen ready to lift the house if they had to. So I really appreciate it, and it makes me feel good about living in Auburn. It's why Auburn is what it is. It's because of the way we handle our citizens. And it's not us on this council. We do provide the funding, approve the funding for it, but it's all of you, all the staff, and Megan, your leadership. I can't say enough good about it. So thank you, and thank you to all the firefighters.
Thank you, Chief. And is your dad okay?
He's got a pretty hard head, so I knew he'd probably be all right. We had to go get him checked out. He took an ambulance ride, so.
Not surprised to hear you say that. All right. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move ahead. Auburn University Communications.
Hey everyone, hope y'all are having a good week. So my name is Vera Smith-T, like I said last week, and I'm serving as the Executive Vice President of Outreach this year on Auburn SGA, and I'm here to give a report on behalf of Auburn University SGA. Auburn University will welcome its largest class to date this fall, with a freshman enrollment of 6,103, as compared to the graduating class of 2025, who numbered 5,246, so a large increase in the numbers. Auburn University's Camp War Eagle sessions began this past Thursday, August 29th, and another session will be held beginning this Thursday, June 5th. And SGA has opened their freshman form applications and encouraging all incoming freshmen to apply. And as Mayor Andrews already said, Auburn baseball came out as champions of the NCAA Auburn Regional and will host number 13 Coastal Carolina in NCAA Super Regionals this upcoming weekend. Coach Butch Thompson now has set the record for most regional championships in program history. So, War Eagle. Thank you.
War Eagle. Thank you, Vera. At this time, we'll have citizens' communications on the items on tonight's agenda. This would only be on items on tonight's agenda. If you'd like to address the city council, this would be your opportunity to come forward. There's one item, item number 9A, that does have a public hearing attached to that. If you'd like to address the council regarding that, please wait until that time. But anything else you'd like to address the council, this would be your time. We'd ask that you come forward and give us your name and address for the
Mayor,
record.
if I may, it's 9A, 9C, and 10B. I'll have public hearings.
Okay. I was confused. I thought there was going to be a postponement of.
Well, there may be, I'm just saying, yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. So if you'd like to address the city council, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes. Okay, we'll move ahead with city manager's communications.
Wait a minute.
Oh, was there somebody? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Good evening to the council. My concern still is, my name is Johnny Dowdell, and I live at 1216 Combs Avenue. And my concern still is when you come from Combs and make a
Miss
left.
Johnny, that would be at the end of the meeting.
Oh,
This
I'm
is just for
sorry.
items on tonight's agenda.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Just hang in there a little bit longer. We'll get you up there, okay? Yes, ma'am. All right. Anyone would like to address the council about any item on tonight's agenda? Okay. We'll move ahead with city manager's communications.
Mayor, under city manager's communications, first, I think they're going to kill me. We have an inordinate amount of city employees in the room this evening. We have an internal city academy, and so I'm going to ask them all to stand up that are part of our city academy. And this is part of their training that is Office of City Manager Month for them, and they love coming to council meetings because you don't usually see them. So I'm going to have them, who's part of the current City Academy stand up so you can see the number of employees that are here tonight. They're going to start coming to council meetings on the regular, so get a good look at them. It's a broad cross-section of our employees, and this is a cross-training thing that we do. It's a wonderful program. It's very similar to our Citizens Academy. Thank you, guys. So, and then I'll probably get some lovely notes tomorrow, but
Thank y'all for being here, and we appreciate your interest in learning more about the city, even though you do that from 8 to 5 every day and probably sometimes a little bit longer than that. So we appreciate you, and you make Auburn great by your work every day. So thank you.
all right, so under my communications otherwise this evening, we have the announcement of 2 vacancies on the Auburn Downtown Redevelopment Authority for terms that begin July 19th and end July 18th, 2031. The appointments for that board will be made at the July 8th meeting. We have 1 vacancy on the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a supernumerary position for an unexpired term that begins upon appointment and will end January 20th, 2028. The appointment will also be made at the July 8th meeting. And then we have the 1 vacancy I already spoke about on the Planning Commission for an unexpired term that begins upon appointment and ends July 31st, 2026. That appointment will be made at the July 22nd meeting.
All right.
Our first item of business is the consent agenda. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I hate to slow the process down tonight, but I would like to remove item 8, Echo 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove 8, C Charlie, 8, D Delta.
All right. Anyone else?
I was gonna remove the same two.
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll move ahead. 8C.
Item 8C authorizes a formal amendment to the State of Alabama Community Development Block Grant coronavirus application from a while ago to update the projected number of beneficiaries for the rental and utility assistance program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Parsons?
Yeah, I simply just wanted to have the public get a quick overview of what actually this item is so that we can just hear it.
Gladly. One thing with federal regulations, I think that everybody in the room is likely used to. They're very complicated and varied. So we will have our community services director, Al Davis, go over the ins and outs. The broad overview, though, is we received extra funding during the COVID period from the federal government. And we applied to use those funds for various and sundry things, including rental assistance and housing, rental assistance with housing and utility assistance. One challenge is that when you use funds that were earmarked for coronavirus-related things, the beneficiary could only benefit one time, not multiple times from those funds. So I'll have Mr. Davis give a better explanation than that.
Good
Greg will
evening,
get you.
council. How are you today?
Good.
This item is a request from the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs to update our numbers. They are very particular about the number of beneficiaries must match exactly the number of beneficiaries that result from an activity. And in this case, we did not meet that beneficiary number, so we needed to go back and amend the application through a formal amendment. We had projected that we were going to, that 429 people would benefit from this utility assistance and rental assistance that we have proposed in our application to ADEC. However, we also got other funding directly from HUD prior to getting the $750,000 appropriation from the state. So we were able to utilize our funds that came directly to the city from HUD for COVID to also address the needs for utility and rental assistance. So we were able to allocate almost $140,000, which we did spend from the allocations the cities received directly, and was able to help a little over 500 people, 500 families with those dollars from the city dollars. By the time the state funds arrived, we were at the end of the COVID process, or the end of COVID period. So we could not spend those dollars because they had to be specific to COVID. Therefore, we were not, that's why those numbers are lower, because by the time we got to the state dollars, we had already helped a significant number of individuals in our community. And I was very pleased to be able to do that. Those fundings allowed us to help a lot of families. But we do need to correct those numbers since we were not able to meet them. We didn't lose those dollars. Those dollars were just reallocated to the food bank and food pantry. So we didn't lose the dollars, we just had to reallocate them.
But we couldn't continue to use the
No.
funds for
No,
rental assistance and utility assistance because of eligibility.
correct. The
For
eligibility
those corona
requirements
things.
were very
Yeah.
strict.
And that's separate from our annual allocation from HUD as an entitlement city, which deals with the next agenda item that we'll get to in a minute.
Thank you.
Any questions or follow-up comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 8D authorizes an amendment to the fiscal year 2023 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan to reassign $316,794 in funds to new activities, including Boykin Gymnasium installation and resurfacing of Darden Avenue, Laverne Avenue, Jones Street, Julie Avenue, and Crosby Avenue.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second, Mr. Parsons.
Again, just a quick overview, if you wouldn't mind, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
No problem at all. This was also kind of a unique situation. Every April, HUD will come in and, well, they don't actually visit it, but they look at our records to see how well we have spent our funding for that period. So every April, they have a formula that they look at to determine whether or not what they call that we'll spend our funds in a timely fashion. Well, in 23 was awful. We really got very fortunate. We were a little ahead of schedule, was able to complete 3 new affordable houses ahead of schedule, was able to sell them ahead of schedule. So we ended up with about $375,000 in what we call program income as those houses sold, those dollars returned to the city. Well, when they did the timeliness test, prior to the timeliness test, we realized we were not going to be able to make that. We were not going to be able to spend those dollars down enough to satisfy HUD. So we had to find somewhere else to reallocate those dollars. We didn't have any more property, so we couldn't build any houses. So we had to move the funds. Otherwise, we could risk losing the dollars and be also put us in trouble for future allocations from HUD. So we had to find some ways to reallocate the dollars. So we proposed reallocate $200,000 of that $375 to the Boykin installation project, which is underway right now. They're actually insulating the Boykin Gymnasium, so we was able to move some dollars there. We was also able to allocate some dollars to some new street resurfacing projects that the city manager just mentioned. So we were able to utilize those dollars, keep our CDBG funding, just reallocate them to a new program line item. So that's what we're requesting tonight, to reallocate those dollars.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I just got one question.
Yes,
On Boykin.
I'm just telling you, you're
okay.
good, yes, ma'am.
Okay, on Boykin, I see where they doing that now, right?
Yes.
Resurfacing. Are they gonna do the whole strip, or are they
Oh,
doing?
wait a minute, you said resurfacing?
Are you referring to resurfacing
Oh,
or
they
the
did.
Boykin
Oh.
gym installation?
Which one?
No, I'm talking about the resurfacing.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, I thought you said that they reallocated some of the funds to resurfacing.
So resurfacing comes, that will be for new projects. So the ones that I listed, Darden, Laverne, Jones Street, Julie Avenue, and Crosby Avenue come at a separate
Yes.
deal. The Boykin work that we're doing is that insulation project because of the air conditioning.
Oh, okay, okay.
ma'am.
I thought you said that Boykin. When you said Boykin, I was thinking about the street.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
gymnasium.
Okay, but can I ask that question though,
About which,
about the resurfacing? At
Mr.
Boykin?
Davis wouldn't be aware of resurfacing of Boykin Street from a scheduling standpoint. Mr. Cummings, do you have?
They doing something over there?
I'd have to double check the schedule. I know, we're up to date on that area, and I think I'd have to look back at if any other work is planned on Boykin. I don't have that information right in front of me.
Okay,
We'll get back to you.
okay.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Griswold.
City Manager, we previously approved this contract for the Boykin installation.
Right.
So the funds that we've received now, as a result of that, the delta will be refunded back to the city for other use?
We had stated with that agenda item that we would be using block grant funds for it.
If it became available.
No, we knew they were available at the time. We have a timing thing. Yeah, we had let you
Okay.
know. But theoretically, is that drawn down from block grant directly, or is that paid by the general fund and then reimbursed?
It's usually reimbursed.
So yeah, the general fund would front it and it gets reimbursed.
Okay,
But yes, all along that was the plan.
thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries.
All right, I believe we're now to 8E3.
We are.
83 authorizes a one-year contract with the option to renew for up to 2 one-year terms with Interstate Electrical for the purchase of streetlights, poles, and components related to replacing damaged or installing new halophane poles and lights. The contract establishes a unit price for each component that may be needed. The number in the aggregate doesn't mean anything. It's just establishing a unit price where we can go and purchase these items. That's what we're asking you to approve.
Move for approval.
Second. All right, have a motion and a second. Mr. Mormon?
Yes, thank you. These are metal poles generally, or?
No. Well, Mr. Cummings?
I'm not 100% sure what they're made of. I think they're a composite pole.
Yeah, they're mostly composite.
Yeah.
Some could be, depends on the type of pole and what neighborhood we're in, but these particular ones are a composite, more of a decorative one that you see.
Okay, not pine or?
Not
wood.
pine,
Okay.
they're, yes.
Yeah, we're not buying that from Interstate Electrical, but
Right.
yes, you would be surprised how many of our streetlights get damaged from rogue vehicles.
Gosh, I almost hate to ask this, but does it withstand the damage more? Is that part of the reason that we would buy these poles?
No,
No, it's our standard pole it's what we've purchased to have these decorative lights throughout the city.
Oh.
So it's that, and they, depending on the impact, is directly proportional to the damage that will incur.
A lot of these are refunded. When they're damaged, it's often insurance that is reimbursing us, but the goal is to establish a price for these so that we can replace them expeditiously or put new ones in when requested.
So these are the decorative poles, such as Martin Luther King area, like that?
As my understanding, I apologize, our city engineer is out sick and then went on to a conference, and so I don't know if Mr. Crowdis, is that one that you can answer about these poles? The decorative, more composite ones plus the other decorative kind. We have multiple kinds.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So what is a Hall of Fame pole? What is that?
Hall of Fame light.
Well, it says
Yeah.
poles and lights. I wasn't familiar with that term. What is that? Is that a brand name or a type of pole or a type of composite structure or
Yeah, it's just the brand.
brand name? Oh, okay. Okay.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
All right, item 8E4 authorizes a 3-year contract with, that was one of yours, wasn't it? Yes.
Yes.
With SHI International Corporation for Absolute Secure Access Software Renewal at a total cost of $72,151.75.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Mormon?
Thank you. Is this a new vendor? Did we change vendors here, or did we renew?
As far as the, the secure access name, NetMotion was the original name of the software package. They were acquired a few years ago by Absolute. And so there's some change in terminology there, but this is software we've employed ever since we originally put, I guess, mobile data terminals out for police. So it's been in place for a while.
So this is a vendor that we've used before, and we're.
Yeah,
we're
and this
continuing on.
is common software or secure access software used by a lot of our staff. All of us that we would like sometimes to do work from home or need to do work from home at night and on the weekends, this lets us into the network. Police heavily use it, but others do too. All of our people out in the field have to use it to get into permitting systems and so on.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, number 5.
Item 85 authorizes the execution of a development agreement with Tolan Realty Company Incorporated for the East Glen Townhomes. Tolan Realty will be paying the city $45,000 toward future turn lanes once we determine an access management plan for East Glen Avenue.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Mr. Mormon?
Thank you again. This is one of those projects that you wonder how it's going to turn out, and I'd like to say that it's shaping up real good. The townhomes look good. I was confused on what we were accepting tonight. I thought we were going to be accepting a turn lane, like pushing the curb in or something, and I couldn't visualize that on Glen Avenue. But the city manager told me right before the meeting that this is a turn lane in the middle that we're just thinking about.
Well, they're actually constructing a small right turn lane right now. The right lane's been blocked in the vicinity of this. They're paying for that, but it's shorter than it needs to be. And so this is in the future. If you drive down Glen Avenue, we're having some challenges with people who don't pay attention to those in the left lane and like to run into them because people have to make left turns without a left turn lane. There isn't a lot of choice in widening Glen Avenue in this vicinity, but it's something that we continue to look at addressing, and we eventually may need to deal with acquisition of right-of-way to widen Glen to get a center turn lane in. This contribution will go into a city account. It can only be spent on Glen Avenue for that purpose. And the purpose of the development agreement is to actually execute this to require that they give us money per our design and construction manuals to make their pro rata contribution toward it.
Just to recap that, we're getting $45,000 or the potential amount of $45,000 we could widen the road, but the idea is a left turn lane heading to town from Glendine.
The idea is a turn lane possibly in the middle of the road once we've studied full access management. So it could also go toward the extension of the right turn lane. We don't know yet until we study it. So we're challenged by redevelopments on Glen Avenue, and our predecessors, I appreciate them very much, but they did us no favors when they widened the road and did not put a full center turn lane down East Glen, and that was likely due to lack of right-of-way at the time. But to be clear, they have to pay us this $45,000 per this agreement. They can't get their certificates of occupancy without paying this money, and it will sit in an account of the cities and can only be used on Glen Avenue for the broad purposes of which it's established for in perpetuity. That's it.
Thank you very much.
All right, any other further questions? All right, we have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Ordinances.
Item 9A amends Chapter 20, Article 2, Section 20-47 and Section 20-53 of City Code by increasing solid waste charges per a rate study that was completed in 2023. Rates have not been increased since 2014. This item was postponed from the May 6 meeting where first reading took place. A motion is needed and a public hearing is recommended.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion is second. This time we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council on this topic, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak to the city council.
Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn. I want to thank David Dorton for, I asked for some information. He led me to the right place to get data. I gathered the information from 2009 and to 2024. It's concerning the solid waste management enterprise fund, which I think is great to have enterprise fund for that and the sewer. I think it's wonderful because it's treated separately. You kind of know what's going on. The city and the city council and city managers participate, I believe, in 3 work sessions. And I hope, I assume y'all know a lot more than I do. All I know is some numbers that I looked at, and I've just had some concerns in general. I noticed we also hired a consulting firm in 2023 on this subject, and it's something that we seem to always hire consulting firms if you're in the bureaucratic world. I'm glad that the city set up this fund, but here's a rundown on the solid waste. 2009 to 2013, we lost about $1.1 million. 2014 to 2017 was a positive income of $942,000. In 2018 to 2021 seemed to be kind of about a $4,500 a year thing, but it was a positive $176,000. Then we lost 94,000 in 2022. But what really strange to me is we lost in 2023 and 24, we lost 1.4 million on this fund. And the strange thing about it is during that period of time, those 2 years, the salary, wages, and benefits increased by $1 million. So there was a loss of 1.4 million, and 1 million of that was the increase, and that had not happened before where there was much of an increase. I have no idea why y'all had such an increase. Maybe I can get that answered, but that seems excessive. I know Councilman Griswold always talks about money, and I'm concerned about that money. Point one, it took 13 years, 2009 to 22, to increase the yearly salary and wages from 1.5 million to 2 million. It took 1 year in 23 to go from 2 million to 2.5 million. So there was a $500,000 increase basically in 13 years and a $500,000 increase in 1 year. But it also took 1 year, 2023 to go from, it took 13 years from 2009 to 2022 for the yearly employee benefit line to grow from 418,000 to 666,000. But it took 1 year to go from 666 to 852, about 80-something% of that of an increase that took 13 years to grow. So I don't know where all this money is going and why it's increased. If we hired a huge amount of people, or we paying more people money like we do our city manager, or what's going on? Also, the annual gross receipts for the 12,560 that was in your memorandum, it said there was that totaled $3.5 million. But because you have increase of people, it went to 19,504, so it went from 3.5 million with anyway, it would go to 7.5 million with the increase. Point three, the sample utility bill that was sent out, I noticed it had the water, the sewer, and the garbage. And the garbage from 20 now to 26 would go to 32 from the 23.50, which is $8.50, which was mentioned at the last, two meetings ago. Point four is the sewer fund. When you're looking at the stuff with the management, you also see the sewer fund. I have no idea why our fund has grown from 24 million in 2009 to 84 million, nearly quadrupled. That is an awful lot of money. Are we just saving money? Are we doing like the university and having a endowment fund or something? I mean, why are we having so much money why we have so much money in that fund? It seems like we just need to decrease some of the payments that we're doing, and maybe propose the $32 per thing, but maybe the sewer can go down from 14.81 to $8. But I just have a lot of concerns. I wanted to bring them up. Thank you.
Who'll be next? Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion from the council?
I'll kick it off if
Please.
it's all right. Thank you. We had a lot of meetings on this, and there were a lot of questions asked, and one of them I failed to ask is the 4% utility tax. That goes to who? City manager?
I'll have our finance director
Yeah,
answer.
that's on water. That's part of the water bill.
Right.
Yeah,
So
on water, not solid waste.
it's part of the aggregate bill, and
Yes. It's a
if
state.
citizens had looked at that, they would say, well, you're taxing us and you're charging us. So I
That's
want
a
to make.
state tax.
Yeah, I
though,
want to
right.
make clear that that is a
Yep.
state tax. That was
Yep.
my purpose for bringing it up. Thank you.
Anything else, Sonny?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone? Have a question? Yes, sir,
Yeah,
Mr.
I'd just
Griswold.
like to point out that, we have the shortfall, and every dollar that we transfer from the general fund into the solid waste fund is a dollar we lose for other things that the citizens of Auburn expect and deserve, whether it be Parks and Recreation or resurfacing or police and fire, whatever, every dollar we transfer into this fund, which is supposed to be self-sustaining, is a dollar that the rest of us lose. So this is a pay while you go, pay your way as you go type of fund. It's supposed to pay for itself. So it's just not fair to the citizens of Auburn to lose your general fund assets to augment a fund that's supposed to be self-sustaining.
I'd like to piggyback on that if I may.
Sure.
Some things cannot be set up as on a pay-as-you-go system, such as the police department and the fire department, as was pointed out in the literature. So the things that make sense, I think, are like this. The garbage, it can be set up, and the terminology is, I forget the
Enterprise fund?
enterprise fund,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, is the term that we put on that. But if some citizens say, well, why don't we just pay everything out of the general fund, then I think that was well spoken by Councilman Griswold, that we are taking from things that can be set up, cannot be set up, and assigning them to places it can be. Thank you. I'll get off my soapbox.
Okay, all right. Who'll be next? Anybody?
I like to say, I think Councilman Griswold was spot on. I agree with what he said. He makes a good point.
That total of funds, we've spent 3.1, and then over the next 3 or 4 years, be another 5.5 or so. So we're talking, if I remember, it's like $8 to $9 million that would have to supplement if we left things
A
the
little
same.
over 5 million in the next budgeting period, so for 26, 27, that's what we would ask for from the general fund. It'll be nearly 9 million for the 4-year time period.
Total. Okay.
Yeah.
We can give you, $1 million will fund 13 million in debt issued for projects. That's a fire truck, 23 police cars, you name it. $1 million is a lot in the general fund, to Councilman Griswold's point, for what you may need to be funding from a city service standpoint. And the story you heard from Councilman Dawson is where our citizens expect when they need us the most that we show up. We've invested much in our EMS capabilities and our advanced life support from the fire department, and I asked you guys to consider that for the whole reason of that's what our citizens expect, and we're not there asking for your insurance card. We're there to help you and get you better or improved or get you to a situation where somebody else can help you, and that service is included in your taxes, period.
Anyone else?
That projected shortfall was calculated based off of increased service cost and having to update equipment or
Capital equipment's a big part
bring
of
on
that.
additional capital
but
equipment.
increased cost, right?
As our current equipment ages out and as we bring on new customers and have to add additional equipment.
That's correct. And we went many years, Katrina will know off the top of her head, and Al Davis actually led that department at a point in his career. We went many years without adding any personnel to your department, Katrina. 22 years because we gained efficiency in equipment. And so the only time we add personnel is when we need to add equipment.
Anyone else? Ms. Crouch, I appreciate the staff's patience with the council as we methodically work through this. We did have a number of work sessions, and we appreciate the time that was invested to provide the information for the council. We delayed taking action on this for a month to give our citizens that extra time to ask the questions that they had. And we understand that this is an increase in what you're used to paying. And so we wanted to be as methodical as we possibly could to give the people in our community the time that they needed to understand this. Kelly did a great job explaining this. Every parent that signs their child up for a sport expects us to perform well and have a great place for them to play. Every time we have an emergency, we expect that black and white or that white fire truck to show up and take care of our needs in a crisis. Our citizens are clamoring for us to improve every roadway as fast as we possibly can in this town. The money that goes into underwriting this is taken away from all those things. And that's all we're trying to do is get to par, so we can provide those services to our community that y'all want and you expect out of your local government. And that's what this decision is about tonight. Okay. We'll close the discussion, and Lindsay with the roll call.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Mormon.
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
Right, the motion carries. Item 9B is a request from the Industrial Development Board to annex approximately 211.45 acres of property located at 430 Lee Road 53, also known as Webster Road. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 10th meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent to consider it on the first reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none. There's no public hearing on this one, so any discussion from the council?
I'm just curious of how much space the IDB has that is not occupied, and, what our projections are. It seems like we're approving things pretty regularly because we're getting a lot of good industry pretty regularly. But, do we have a identified need for this for a particular customer without going into who it might be?
I think the answer to that question.
Well, hold on a minute, Mr. Dunlap, please, to the microphone. Sorry, we're broadcasting live, so.
Make you get up.
I think to answer that question would be yes and no. We have, this particular piece of property, we do have some identified project that might occupy part of this. But some of this property, we're evaluating other potential uses that may actually serve the city in some future date. So we're not 100% sure what the ultimate use of this parcel will be, but we bought this with those ideas in mind, because how difficult is it to find 211 acres in the middle of the city? Very difficult. So it made sense for us to acquire this, have it in hand, that gives us the flexibility to do many things.
For industrial property in general, the Economic Development Department does an absorption study to look at their rate of absorption of property. I have firsthand knowledge, used to do those for Philip. And we look at the rate of use of property, but I can tell you the door is being knocked down by new industries, but changes in tariffs, because we have a lot of foreign direct investment and we have equipment that is utilized by companies that can only be had overseas, provides some challenges for us right now. But the activity is robust on our property. The industrial board is very selective as to what is allowed to locate on their property.
I'll answer this one more thing which may prove useful to you. Typically, the way we do parks, we buy acreage around 180 to 230, 240. The West Tech was a little larger. Our idea is that we want to have developments that can be built out between 7 to 10 to 12 years. At present, almost every lot within the West Tech Park, the north and the south, are occupied. We have a couple of small lots. So our inventory is such, that's why we're embarking on new development that is currently underway in the western part of the city. This piece of property became available. It was an opportunity that we could secure this for other potential uses, other potential projects, and also address some of the needs that the IDB had. That's why we embarked on buying this dirt. And Megan is exactly right. We do a cost-benefit analysis, absorption studies. I can even tell you how many jobs per acre we create. We know that over the years.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dunlap. Appreciate it. Thank you. And appreciate what y'all do to bring business to the city as well.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. This time we'll have the roll call vote. Lindsay?
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
The motion carries. Item 9C is a request from the Industrial Development Board to rezone approximately 130.40 acres of the property that was just annexed, located at 420 Lee Road 53. Now it should be Webster Road because it's in the city limits, from rural to industrial. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its April 10th meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Motion is second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council about this topic, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes to speak to the council. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the dais?
We did just recently approve a comp plan update with the future land use to identify this area as industrial, correct?
That is correct.
Any other comments, questions? Yes.
This, I think, piggybacks on Councilman Witten's question. Is the IDB being cautious with the rezoning from rural to industrial here by just doing a portion of this land?
The IDB, as Mr. Dunlap mentioned, that this property has probably long been of interest to the city itself. And there may be other uses that are not industrial than in nature that may need to look at this property depending on what's going on. So the board has been very flexible to just do a portion of it industrial, which is part of the piece that abuts the existing industrial park, plus another larger parcel that's the subject of a conditional use request later. They're leaving a piece of it as rural until the city can determine if we might have some needs for that property. And some of that property does abut existing residential, so part of that is intentional to create a buffer zone. Not that our industry, we don't allow loud noisemakers, but at times they get deliveries in the middle of the night. They will dump scrap metal and other things, so we do try to keep some distance from existing residences.
Any comments, questions? Okay, Lindsay?
Adams,
Yes.
Lawrence,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Mormon.
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten.
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Resolutions. Item 10A authorizes a tax abatement for Briggs & Stratton LLC located at 150 Technology Parkway for the acquisition of new equipment. The company plans to invest approximately $8.15 million and anticipates hiring 35 new employees.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Anyone on council have a comment or question? Yes.
I just want to say congratulations to Briggs and Stratton for the growth that they are experiencing. Most of us are users of their products. It's great to have them as part of the Auburn community, and I think we're all proud of them. They've been out there a while, and they're just doing great.
I'd also like to thank Philip for the work he did years ago getting Briggs and Stratton here. It was a big deal back then, and meant a lot more money for the city, and you just wonderful. Back then, the industry, like it was kind of unheard of coming to Auburn. We all got really excited about it, and we're glad to did a good job on that one, Philip.
Tom, you're exactly right. That was a big day in Auburn's
Yeah, it's a
history
big deal.
when that happened. So congratulations, Philip. Anybody else? All right, we got a motion second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 10B is a request from the Industrial Development Board for conditional use approval of an industrial use, which is a high-performance computing center to be located at 430 Webster Road. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its May 8th meeting. However, the applicant is requesting postponement of this item to July 8th. A public hearing is required.
I move to postpone to a date certain of July 8th.
Second.
Motion is second to postpone until July the 8th. Questions about that?
Is this a first reading or
It's not, it's just a resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution.
Yes, sir.
So all in favor of postponing to July 8th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries, and we'll hear this again first meeting in July.
We have no items of other business, and those are all the items of business we do have for you this evening.
Okay. This time we'll open Citizens Open Forum. If you'd like to address the City Council about any topic, this will be your opportunity to do that. Please come forward and give us your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes We'd ask that your comments please be addressed to the council. Yes, ma'am, Miss Johnny, you are first.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My concern still is to the council that the visibility is not that good when you're coming off of Jordan and making a left onto Martin Luther King. The trees just, it's not good. You can't see unless you cut some of the undergrowth or the branches, then you can see, but you have to get all the way out in the road, and that's kind of dangerous to make that left turn. And then it's a black box to the right, and you can't really hardly see to the right. So the visibility, the scenery is pretty, but it's not that good to see. The visibility is not that good. So I wondered if somebody could come and just look at that. We would appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Crouch,
Yeah,
yes.
so we have multiple engineers right now looking at aerial photos and taking notes, and they'll be out to look, Public Works and Engineering at the site distance. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Can I ask a question on that?
Please.
Those trees that she's talking about, is that on somebody's property or is it city property?
I'll have to ask those folks that are looking at aerial photos right now. Is it our streetscape stuff or is it existing vegetation, do you think?
My expectation is that it's related to the streetscape associated with the project.
So we'll go out and take a look at that.
And
The
what
black
about that
box
black
definitely is, because that would have to do with the streetlights, but yeah.
All right.
I'm just not sure about the landscaping, because a lot of the landscaping we installed should not be on the ground at the moment. Mr. Ballard?
I don't believe we'll have to remove the trees. It looks like we can probably limb them up to meet the vertical clearance as per engineering site triangle.
Yep. So they'll do some pruning so you see under the tree instead of it being bushy toward the bottom.
So the black box she's talking about, is it removable or what you gonna have to do different with
It's
it?
something that we will measure based on certain requirements, because yes, there are requirements in what we call a sight distance when you pull up to a stop limit line and look to the left and the right, and we'll see if it should not have been installed in the sight distance triangle, but we will look.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, who will be next?
Hello, Elizabeth White, 637 Forest Hill Drive. I'm here tonight aware that you are a nonpartisan body, but also aware that you are community leaders tasked with acting in the best interest of your citizenry. As the President's Big Beautiful Bill has moved to the Senate, I want to highlight one of the many provisions in the bill I find concerning the proposed cuts to SNAP. As the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities warns, this bill would cut nearly $300 billion from this Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, through 2034. And we would walk away from the 50-year bipartisan commitment to ensure that low-income children, adults, and seniors get the help they need regardless of where they live. Hunger, including childhood hunger, would soar despite the well-documented detrimental impacts of even short periods of food insecurity on children's health and cognitive development. Every $1 invested in SNAP for children returns $62 in value over the long term. But concerns don't end there, as a recent Newsweek explains, because school meals are often tied to SNAP participation. Changes to SNAP eligibility and coverage could lead to fewer children qualifying for free or reduced price lunches at school. It was at a city council meeting not long ago that you all as a body voted unanimously, I believe, to support the building of the new community market run by the Food Bank of East Alabama. So you obviously care about addressing hunger in our area and recognize that a need exists. But according to the Food Bank's director, Martha Hank, the SNAP program distributes 10 times more food than all food banks combined. Think about that, 10 times more. Can you even imagine the level of hurt we would see around us with the proposed cuts to SNAP? In addition, this bill would impose those changes in the fiscal year 2028. Rather than owning the cruelty of those cuts during this administration, this would place them around the neck of the next administration, with an added provision that makes this seemingly intentionally cruel that in the restriction on future administrations to increase food assistance, even in a time of crisis like a pandemic or natural disaster. Why would people vote to tie future leaders' hands to prevent them from feeding the hungry in a time of crisis? That seems like a total perversion of the gospel. I respectfully request that you do your due diligence to stay informed with credible news sources and call our senators, as I did this afternoon, to voice opposition to this bill and advocate for your constituents, especially the most vulnerable, the least of these, who oftentimes cannot advocate for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next?
Hey, I'm Deborah Beal. I live at 802 Tullahoma Drive, and I'm here modeling the T-shirt that Bob was telling you all about. And I apologize for my dress, but I was at Lake Wilmore working out this morning, and then I had to rush to a Horseshoe Bend Regional Library Board meeting, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what the Horseshoe Bend Regional Library is, but I figured you could do a little renewal on it. I am Auburn's representative on the board. I'm appointed by the Lee County Commission. They appointed Auburn and an Opelika representative. But Horseshoe Bend Regional Library serves 4 counties: Lee, Tallapoosa, Elmore, and Coosa. And we are the flow-through agency for the state funds for all the libraries that are involved in the regional library. Located in Dadeville, nobody can walk into that library and check out books because that's not why it exists. It exists to get books to people who don't have access elsewhere, or to make it easier for them to get access. They have stops in Auburn where they do the bookmobile. They take books to retirement homes and to daycare facilities, some in Auburn, some in other parts of Lee County that have no access to libraries, some in these other counties. We are increasing the number of stops. So if you know somebody who's shut in, one of the things they do is deliver boxes of books to people who are voracious readers but can't get out. And they do that in all 4 counties. If you know someone that would fit that bill, I know Auburn at one point was mailing books to people, and they may still be doing that. But Horseshoe Bend will deliver books to people and then go back and pick them up. And we also, I don't know how many of you know that Auburn people can go to Opelika, get an Opelika library card, and use Opelika resources. People out in the county can go to Auburn libraries, Opelika libraries, Alex City libraries. Any of the libraries in those counties have exchanged things where you're allowed to get a card at any of those libraries and use their resources. So someone who lives in Elmore County who doesn't have access to electronic books through their library can come get a card and then sit at home and check books out from Auburn or Opelika's library and have access to books they might not be able to access. And that's a reciprocal agreement that's part of the Horseshoe Bend Library. And so I just wanted to remind you what that was and that it exists and you all participate in it. And I'm your representative.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Beal. Thank you for your service. Who'll be next?
Good evening. Steve Cosgrove, 1927 Watercress Drive, and I really appreciate the opportunity to say hello. It's really neat who you run into in the community. I met one of your council members' families today. What a really, really neat family, Max. It was beautiful. But it's really neat being able to just have normal civil discourse with everyone. I really appreciate each and every one of you, really do, and everything that you do. A special outreach to you, Beth. You do a great job of engaging our neighborhood, and I'm sure everyone does that in your respective neighborhood, in your wards, as you refer to it, but really appreciate you a lot, and people do too. They often mention that. But, let's see. Oh, I was looking at the. I got here a little bit late for the service award. I really like getting here, but I just missed that. But of the 12 people that you the 12 people that were recognized, one of whom for community services, the employee of the month, Ms. Hadley, but the 11 combined 212 years. 212 years for recognition. And one of them, can't think of all, I coached her son in T-ball and coach pitch. So that goes way back, and that was probably in the early part of that 27 years. But I know she was one of the faces that you'd meet coming in to see the police division and so forth. That's really neat. It's pretty remarkable that Auburn University is at the point that they are. It's the first time ever hosting a NCAA Division I regional baseball tournament. There's 321, I think, D1 baseball teams. They're down to 16 right now. And whoever wins in these super regionals, whoever wins 2 games is going to be one of the 8 teams that's remaining that gets to go to Omaha. I mean, that's the zenith of college baseball, the asymptote, so to speak. It just doesn't get any better than that, whether they win it or not. My undergraduate school, Southern Illinois University, we were runner-up twice while I was there to University of Southern California. Just getting there is amazing, but runner-up twice to the mighty USC team that won 5 years in a row, by the way. They won 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. Nobody's ever done that except John Wooden in basketball. But I just really wanted to just let you know how much I appreciate you. I'm about running out of time. But, if ever I can be a help in any way, I'm right here. I'm just a regular citizen that really appreciates y'all a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove.
Who will be next?
I had a speech about short-term rental, but I've got to go back to what I mentioned earlier. Somehow I didn't get across what was the point of it. Okay, first of all, I think it's terrible to take money out of the general fund. I thought it was great to have a fund that's self-supporting. It hasn't been self-supporting, but it hasn't for a while. It's been doing pretty well. And it had a balance in there, 1.1 million. This year, we're going to lose about $1 million. I figure, because you lost 813,000 last year. Okay, so the fund I love. What I don't understand is why in 23 and 24, the employee benefits and the employee salaries and wages went astronomically up. What happened? She hasn't said a word. None of you even responded. I don't even understand. You can just allow $1 million just to disappear? Because it was $1 million increase from 22 to now in 24, not 25, because I don't know how much that'll be. So there has to be an answer. Second thing is, why do we have $84 million in the sewer fund? Are we building another sewer plant or something? Or why do we have that much money? No answer? Nobody knows how to answer anything. I don't understand. We are gifted with lots of money. We have great revenue. And I'm concerned that we spend too much of it doing just here and there instead of helping people. We have a lot of money we could keep in house, just like I mentioned you again, Councilman Griswold, is that you talk about the vehicles and so forth. If you would gather enough information and do your due diligence, you could convince this whole group to quit purchasing so many things. Because 870 plus units is way too many for this. I know some of them are front-end loaders, some of them are, the Bobcats that you bought and all the different things. But I believe that money is it's no problem, We have so much money. But how can we spend $1 million more in benefits and employees on a fund that has $7.5 million that it operates on and $1 million increase in 2 years? 2 years. We're not talking about 2009 all the way to 2022 was a $200-something-thousand increase. Now we got $1 million. Do y'all not understand that? Have I done a poor job of explaining? I went through all this stuff from 2009 until now, and it was embarrassing. I was like, what is going on? But nobody's gonna answer anything, nobody's gonna say anything. I had to waste my speech to do this again because it is important that we quit wasting money.
It wouldn't matter what we said, it ain't gonna satisfy you.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Wilkins.
Well, what
Thank you
about
for your
the
time, Mr. Wilkins.
No matter what we say.
Thank you for your
You're
time.
not gonna be
Well,
satisfied
he's-
with it. You're gonna
Thank you
look
for
at
your
her and
time.
come back and say something else.
He has the right to do that. Thank you for your time. No, sir. Please sit down. Please sit down. Who'll be next?
Susan Bolt, 1188 East University Drive. A week ago, we celebrated Memorial Day. Some were off work, some had celebrations, some attended wreath laying ceremonies. Memorial Day is a sacred day, a day when we remember the men and women who laid down their lives for one reason: freedom. Not comfort, not convenience, but freedom. Memorial Day isn't just about flags and flowers, it's about responsibility. It's about remembering that every cross in Arlington represents someone who believed that American freedom, true freedom, was worth dying for. That freedom that our fallen heroes fought for includes property rights, the right to use, enjoy, and freely make decisions about our own land. Those rights are not trivial, they're not negotiable, they're foundational, they're embedded in our Constitution, and property rights are among the rights our fallen heroes died to protect. Yet right now, here in Auburn, that sacred freedom is being dishonored. The STR5 on this council have passed arbitrary zoning laws that divide neighbor from neighbor, two homes side by side, one allowed to do short-term rentals, the other banned. Same street, similar dwellings and appearance, but different realities. That's not law, that's favoritism. That's an overreaching government picking winners and losers, and our fallen heroes did not lay down their lives for this nonsense. And what's worse, 2 of our council members wore the uniform of the United States military. 2 of you took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The oath did not have an expiration date, and violating the principles of our Constitution here at home makes a mockery of the sacrifices of those we remember on Memorial Day. Meanwhile, we have council members willing to fight for sexually explicit material in public libraries, but not for a homeowner's constitutional property rights. We have a retired police chief on the council who once read people their Miranda rights, but won't stand up for constitutional property rights of the very citizens he swore to protect. Let's be clear. Freedom includes the right to own property, to use it, to control it, not just when the city says you can, and not only if you're on the right side of an arbitrary zoning line. A columnist in the Auburn Villager recently wrote, "Every day should be Memorial Day." I agree. So I'm asking all of you on this council, let's honor the fallen by doing more than remembering them. Stand up for what they died for. Defend freedom, not just with words, but with actions. Rescind Ordinance 3288, because protecting freedom is how we truly honor their sacrifice.
Who'll be next? Okay, we'll close this time. Anyone on council have anything they'd like to add?
I have a couple of questions, if I may, of the city manager. For clarification, the sewer and water funds are separate from solid waste and not what we are considering this evening.
Correct. The Auburn Water Works Board is an independent authority, and then you have a sewer enterprise fund, which is completely separate from the solid waste enterprise fund.
Which is what we were not discussing sewer and water this evening.
Correct, just solid waste. We did put out what an average utility bill would be in your packets, just so that you knew with the increase what a citizen would see in their bill.
And does the Waterworks Board have board meetings that citizens can come and speak to them?
Absolutely,
Okay.
monthly meetings.
And then also, just to the comments that were made that we have not addressed certain things, it's very difficult when a citizen comes up and rattles numbers and locations, and for us to respond without having done our own due diligence and our own homework of what those numbers and opposed facts may be. It would be irresponsible of us to speak to those things as a reaction to a question. So I have made comments in my notebook and jotted down the things that were stated. So it is my intent to go back and look at what those comments were and the actuality and facts behind those, and if it paints the picture that was stated or not. And I will gladly reach out to that constituent and have a follow-up conversation. But that is not something that we can responsibly do from this dais when we're faced with a bunch of information in a very short period of time.
I think Ms. Whitten is exactly right. You can't, it's too impossible to respond now, but I appreciate her willing to do the work, but it doesn't matter what you find, he's not gonna believe.
Three work sessions that were available to the public. I think we brought it up last 2 weeks ago, or not 2 weeks ago. We brought up the 1st of May. We've put an abundance of information out online, and there's been plenty of opportunities for anyone to reach out to any of the council members with questions, and we'd be more than willing to get an answer for you. You can also do that after the fact as well, but I second what Beth says.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
I appreciate, Mr. Wilkins, that you pay such attention to the workings of your city. I share the same opinions as my colleagues here. It's a little hard to just start responding to you in real time. It felt a little bit in the moment that you're clearly you demonstrated your passion about it, but we're not prepped in that manner that we can just respond in that way. I would encourage you to reach out to us in writing. I think writing is a very good way to, if you've got particular questions that you can reference some of the research material that you've come upon, and then just write us. And I don't think you'll find any of us unwilling to help you.
Megan, where our personnel costs, what, are we still below 50%?
We do, but there's a very complicated formula that goes with that. You're talking about there's general fund versus the enterprise funds, among other things. So we keep, generally our employment costs compared to other cities are kept below the 50% numbers of general fund expenses. We can talk about with or without capital projects in there. So we run very lean, and my staff can tell you it's not easy to get positions past me. For the council members, if you want responses to the questions, staff is also unaware of the questions received tonight. Those have been fully audited financials, things that we were comfortable with, budgets that were passed. The staff can respond to those questions to the council members at a given time when we've also had the opportunity to look them up. I do think our finance director is ready to respond to one specific question right now. I just think for clarification purposes.
The sewer fund, reference to $84 million in the sewer fund. The sewer fund has a net position of $84 million. Net position consists of, number one, capital assets. Everything that we own in the sewer fund is made up of sewer lines, sewer plants, all of the things that go into that. Of that $84 million net position, $66 million of it is our capital assets. We have about $12 million. At the end of 2024, we had $12 million in unrestricted net position in the sewer fund. That's cash, not $84 million. So that's, just want to make sure that, because that's a big discrepancy there that I feel like needs to be cleared up.
That's sewer treatment plants, all the sewer
It's
lines,
everything
all
that
the
we
equipment,
own.
all the, yeah.
And that cash on hand, is that for crisis management? Is that, what is that cash on hand for?
It's used for annual operations. It's used for capital equipment purchases. One thing that happens in something like the sewer fund is you may have many, many years of very expensive capital projects, and you may have a few years where you don't see as much. And you will know that we have not raised sewer rates in a long time either, because the fund is in a good position. We, in the next probably 4 or 5 years, will see again another ramp up of sewer projects. And so when you plan for sewer and when you raise rates, you do it for now and the future. We have to provide sewer service from now on. And so when you plan for things like that, it's well into the future. So while it may look like we have a lot of surplus right now, that can change very quickly depending on the needs of the sewer system and how much rehab we need to do, or new lines, or improvements to the plants, or anything like that. So water, sewer, solid waste is like a business. You don't plan for tomorrow. You plan, not just tomorrow. You plan for a long ways out, because that is a service that has to continue.
And remember, we do 5-year water and sewer master plans. We update them every 5 years very consistently. And that is how we plan for growth. That's how we plan for maintenance. That's how we plan for all of it, and all that plays a role back to this. So I encourage people, as a lot of you said, a lot of this is in our budget document. It talks about our different funds and how they work and so on, a lot of definitions and other things. We'll have budget meetings this summer. They'll be available to the public. They'll also be recorded, where we talk through a lot of this with you, and we'll gladly do so again.
Thank you for answering those questions. Thank you.
The reality is governmental accounting and governmental budgets look different than small business accounting and small business budgets. And it takes time to really sit down and understand and study the decisions that are made and how they're put together. And we will be going through that process. Again, I'll use the word methodical, a very methodical process later on this summer as we look at approving the expenses that this council will move forward with on behalf of the citizens with the money that they have created to give this city to operate. And we take a lot of time doing that. And those meetings are open to the public. And anyone is certainly welcome to come and watch those budget hearings take place. So I appreciate the staff's time. I get probably a closer view of this because I'm in the building most of the time while Megan is meeting with her staff, but there's hours after hours after hours that are gone through with our finance staff and our budget analyst and the leaders of the departments and the city manager to put all this together. It is not callously done. It is carefully done with a lot of professionalism and a lot of input. And I'm grateful we have the staff that does that.
I'd also like to say I appreciate Councilman Griswold and Councilman Mormon's service in the military. That to even be brought up is ridiculous.
And yours as well, Chief. All right, anyone else? So move, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to remind folks, it's not just the two veterans up here, but all of us took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And I think we've done the best that we can on this. And, we've been through court cases and everything else about the short-term rental thing, and we'll never hear the end of it, I'm sure. But it is truly insulting to even mention Memorial Day when arguing that, for a few folks to make some money off their property. That's just insulting. And the other thing is that, citizens are free to come up and speak about whatever they choose. But just as a reminder, this is a nonpartisan body, and there are some issues that are simply outside of our local deliberation consideration. So I just need to remind everybody about that.
Thank you, Kelly. All right, anyone else? All right, is there a move to adjourn?
I moved.
We're adjourned.